So we started this project a little over a year ago. It's the first reserve bar in Latin America. Starbucks searches the globe and they find small lots, small batches of coffee. Finding particular types of coffee beans from a particular country that's in a particular soil and like what flavors that brings. And then the specialists in Seattle that can then roast those in different ways, and find what the optimum sort of flavor profile is, and then they go with that. The reserve bar is meant to increase the connection and just kind of take down the walls of machinery and stuff, and so the reserve bars have seating where there's stools, you sit down, and then you could either learn about coffee, and I would imagine over time, if it's something that's in your neighborhood, you develop a relationship with the store and the people that work there, the partners or the baristas that work here. So in this store, everyone is a coffee master, which is someone who's undergone additional training, and they really study coffee, have a passion for coffee. And so I think it's a starting point for, it's almost like the coffee becomes an excuse to connect with another person and just talk and share whatever's going on your day. It's in the US, it's in Asia, it's in Europe. So this is truly the first one in Latin America. The project came to be, it's never something that comes as like one complete resolution. It starts with sort of the first mark on the canvas. I got married in Mystic, Connecticut, which is a sea town in in the northeast of the States, and it's an old fisherman's village. They used to build ships there. There used to be whalers and things like that. And I got married in this fisherman's chapel, this little chapel. And a buddy of mine, my best man, read a poem by Pablo Neruda, being in this room in Santiago, Chile, where I'm talking about this project. I mean, it's magic, It's like, how do these things happen in life, It's just sort of one thing leads to the other. And I saw his Isla Negra house, and that was a powerful, just visually, it's very warm, it's very inviting. A house where someone has traveled and then brought back things that meant something to them, And he had the captain's bar. Thinking about him and the bar, and more than anything, the photos of the space look very warm, they look inviting, they look cozy. That was definitely something we wanted to achieve here through materials, through lighting. So warm lighting that helps to create space, So we have the materials, we have the walls, but then really the lighting creates like zones of space. So from there, as like kind of a starting point and sort of getting ideas, I found Nicolas Arroyo online, and I saw he was from Santiago. I saw that just the graphic, how bold it was, and slowly, like, the project was taking a little while, so we had some long pauses in there, but then at a certain point we needed him to like produce some sort of sketch of what he was thinking, so we did that. And then from there, we just went ahead. And then we were able to meet here this past April, and he did the painting, or the mural here in the store. It was interesting because I think one of the beautiful things about it is, like, we were here, the project was running a little behind schedule, and so what we had was just a big blank wall. And so we set up the projector, and he sketched out with pencil with a projector. So you still see the pencil lines on the wall, which I think it just shows that it's made by hand. And I think it's interesting because in a construction process, usually you wouldn't do that work first. You would do that last because people, you'd be concerned that someone's going to walk by and, ruin it, but it just lived in the space. He did the artwork months ago, and it's lived in the space. So it's like the rest of the store kind of came to be like under the watchful eye of something that's very like of the city, And so it had that spirit sort of watching over as everything was built, And again, that's my own perception, but I think the idea of that was something that was unique to this project. So we used that Oromo wood throughout the store. That's kind of the one of the primary material. And so we'd done in the States, we'd done reserve bars and we'd used walnut. We were asking for what would be a locally equivalent, something that's got some of that character, and we got the aroma and we were like, that's perfect. We had to get the wood that was close to the center of the trunk of the tree. It creates a lot of warmth. It's just a warm kind of blonde type of wood, and marble on the bar. We saw the caves in Patagonia, all the marble cave, and copper, and so copper being a big export for Chile. And copper is a huge part of the Reserve brand. That the roaster is completely made out of copper. So all of the coffee that we get here comes from that roaster right there. Like at the Reserve bar, part of what it offers is the Reserve coffee, and then it also you can choose which coffee is selected. So one thing that's interesting about Reserve coffee is you might get something that's never available again, like because they just have a very small batch of it. They send it out, and there's something beautiful about that. Like it's a moment in time, and so you enjoy it more when it's that in the now, the moment, and it's not something that you know that you're not going to get it next week. But from that, you can also choose which machine you'd like to have it brewed on. Like so, it could be just a really basic pour over in a Chemex. You could use the siphon, which is like a percolating coffee method. We have a clover machine, which is just a different way of brewing coffee. We have the Black Eagle at the end, which is just more of the old school big espresso machine. We also have the cold brew and nitro cold brew. So those are really good too. So it's just, you're able to try different brewing methods and different coffees. So the space that we're in now is based on a design of the library that's in the Seattle Roastery. It's completely covered in aroma wood except for this table. This table is walnut and the chairs are walnut. The library is really, it talks about the roastery, and it's really like going back to where, like I see that as like the heart. These beans right here were actually roasted in that roasting. One, it's just a room that people will be able to reserve and to use for different things, meetings or whatever it might be. My favorite place is behind the core bar, and it's like a passageway between the back of house and then the core. It's got a lower ceiling, and you can kind of sit behind, and that's my favorite place to be. By far the most satisfactory part is just the team of people that came together to make the space. And then after we've made it, like, we become a team, I mean, everyone sort of finds their role and how to do it. And then after that, it's really handing it over to the people who are going to use the space. So the baristas that are here, now it's their home, it's like it's theirs to use. And there's something really really satisfying about that. I'm going to miss the people I've worked with on this project, truly. So I'm proud of that, and I look forward to continued friendship and hopefully doing more work. But in this modern world that we live in, and we're running and we're running and we're running, just do yourself a favor and just take a break.